It all comes down to this. There is still so much to play for as Exeter City take on Barrow in the final EFL Sky Bet League 2 game of the season. Welcome to Park Life. Coming up on today's show, we of course hear from the manager, Matt Taylor. Rory McArdle is the man on press duties this week as well, and Ryan Bowman answers the fans' questions. But we'd be silly not to start with last Saturday's Late Show at Bolton Wanderers.
Hartridge, Jay and Bowman all come in for the Grecians. Exeter away down the right-hand side. This is looking dangerous for the visitors, and that's a really superb block. It was incredible. It has been a roller coaster if you're a Bolton fan. That's a good-looking ball, and this is Doyle, their top scorer, and that's Sarcevic. Lovely layoff. That's a brilliant goal for Bolton Wanderers, and the party is starting. Trouble here, their playoff hopes seemingly now going up in smoke, and it might get worse for them here. Was he pulled back? Oh, it's right on the edge, and it's only a yellow card for Hartridge. Chance for Bolton to double their money, and it's a really good save from Anderson. 4th, 9th, 5th, and currently 9th. They're searching for an equaliser here. They might find it, and Matt Gilks got down. It'll be a long and miserable trip back down to Devon if they don't get something from this game. But, Williams wants it, and Williams has got it. It's Randall Williams. Oh, it's a superb equaliser. It's Randall Williams, 4 minutes after half-time. And Bolton are stunned. It's his 4th of the season. And he caressed it into the bottom corner. And 4 wins in 5 for Bolton. Exeter asking questions here, though, and there might be a way here with Matt J. And he's fluffed his lines. Value for a 1-1 draw at the moment, Exeter, but just as I say that, they give it away. That's a decent effort, and it's flashed wide by Doyle. Bolton do need a win. Exeter also need a win. And they've got a free kick here. Big chance this for Exeter City. In it comes, and then headed home! 6 minutes into stoppage time, and Exeter have won it. It's a huge goal for Piers Sweeney. It's a hammer blow for Bolton. They were hoping to celebrate promotion. That is not going to happen today. I'm not sure why the fireworks are still going off, because Bolton are going to have to wait. They have missed the chance to seal promotion. They face a nervy final day at Crawley next week, where they must win to guarantee a top 3 finish.
That wasn't bad, was it? And it cost the gaffer a few quid as well. Here he is, £400 lighter, discussing Saturday's game where a win could push us into the playoff places.
Well, let's be honest, the last 2 wins have given us that chance. You cast your mind back a couple of weeks ago where we were struggling to score, struggling to affect the opposition, and those 3-0 results really put us on the back foot. So the fact that we've got a chance this weekend is testament to the last couple of results and the performances we've put in towards the end of each of those games.
Obviously, last weekend's win at Bolton was an amazing end to that game. I think all of us, were really happy about how that game went. But I think it's important not to get carried away with that result too much and just have calm heads going into this one. Yeah,
absolutely. It'd be totally different. Barrow, a different team to Bolton. We play a different way. You were there at that game. That was an open game. Lots of chances, both ends of the pitch, lots of space on a seriously good surface. So you'd expect this to be a classic end of season game where it's tight and nervy, and that both teams are fighting for their lives in relation to getting a foothold in the game. But we take a little bit of confidence into it. Confidence from the second half performance, confidence from scoring 2 goals in that second half. The confidence of coming back into a game on the Tuesday night at Grimsby and getting the equaliser and getting a win late on. And just the feeling of momentum, or the feeling of feeling positive about your own performance, is something the players have certainly felt in the last few days. And they train really well today. So we're looking forward to this weekend. We know the pressure's there. We know what the magnitude of the game is in relation to the outcome, and we want our season to continue.
So here's how it works if Exeter City are to make the playoff places this season. We need to win against Barrow and hope that Newport or Tranmere lose and that Forest Green, who are away to Oldham, fail to win. There's many more permutations, but those are the simplest ones, and Exeter City really do need to win on Saturday. We don't know how it's going to go, but one thing's for sure, there's going to be plenty of twists and turns along the way. It's time for a lowdown on our opponents now, with a man who celebrated Sweeney's goal at Bolton so loudly that we almost got in trouble. Here is Jed's lowdown on Barrow.
45 games, 18 wins, 70 goals and 69 points. It all comes down to this for Exeter City. One more game to get into the playoff places, and Barrow are our opponents on Saturday. Formed in 1901, there are a number of junior football clubs on the Cumbrian coast before 800 people gathered together to create one town club, Barrow AFC. The club was formed in the shadow of the world-famous submarine dockyard. The very first torpedo was fired by the Abdul Harman that was built at the site. The tallest building in Cumbria is the Devonshire Dockyard, naturally, and that is where all the submarines were built over the years. In 1921, Barrow were a founding member of Division 3 North, but it wasn't until 1958 that they returned to the Football League in Division 4. In 1967, they were promoted to the third tier, but that stay only lasted 3 seasons until they dropped back into the fourth, and then 2 years later, they dropped out of the Football League for the last time until this year. Despite being in non-league, their trophy cabinet was still being filled. They won the FA Trophy in 1990 and as recently as 2010 when they beat Stevenage at Wembley. And last season, last week's manager, Ian Evatt, guided the Bluebirds back into the Football League, and this is the first time that they've come to SJP since Tony Moran's days back in the 70s. Barrow go into the game knowing their safety is secured, so the onus is on Exeter City to make it a thriller and get those last points to get ourselves into the top 7. Rob Kelly, Barrow's third manager of the season, well, fourth in a year really. Ian Evatt left at the start of the year after guiding the Bluebirds back to promotion. He went to Bolton. David Dunn took the reins at Holker Street for the start of the season. He then left. Michael Jolly was the latest, and he's left as well, which means Rob Kelly has taken caretaker boss to the end of the season for just the second time. Kelly made his managerial name in the early 2000s with Leicester City at Walker Stadium. Ironically, that was his only permanent stint. Since then, he's been assistant to a number of high-profile championship managers. Uwe Rosler, Steve McLaren are on the list, where he was number 2. And since taking over at Barrow, he's managed to do his one job and keep them in the Football League. And hopefully he can keep the job over the summer and build on their relative success this season. It seems just like yesterday that Exeter City went to Holker Street, or the Progression Solicitors Stadium as it's known nowadays. Though its official address is on Wilkie Road, Holker Street has been the home of the Bluebirds since 1909. That was the year that it opened. In the 8 years prior, the Bluebirds were sweet at Strawberry Ground, they were cooking up at Storm at Ainsley Street, and they were playing on the swings at Little Park before they moved to Holker Street in 1909. The first Football League game was played as a founding member in 1921 when Stockport County came. That game, 9,000 spectators turned up to Cumbria, but the record attendance is over 16,000 when Swansea City played in the FA Cup in 1954. And in 2019, with Barrow growing themselves to become a Football League club again, Progression Solicitors took over the naming rights. You don't have to rummage around for long before you find Barrow's one to watch this week. Scott Quigley has 15 goals in all competitions this season, including one against Exeter back in April. The two-footed striker has been here, there and everywhere in his career before joining Barrow. He's featured for Port Vale, Halifax and Wrexham before nestling on the Cumbrian coast in 2019. In over 70 league appearances for Barrow, he has netted 35 goals, including 20 last season, as he spearheaded the Bluebirds back into the Football League. And aforementioned, his physicality caused Exeter City a load of problems when the two sides met earlier on in the season, and it's something that the centre-backs are going to have to keep on their guard to make sure that Exeter get the job done on Saturday. And finally, the late great Tony Morin played for both Barrow and Exeter City in his long career. He played 113 games for Barrow before making the switch to St James's Park in the early 70s, where he made up a midfield maestro of Jimmy Giles, Alan Banks and himself. In his time at Exeter, his most poignant fixture would have been against Barrow, which caused the Bluebirds to be relegated in 1972. And late last year, Tony sadly passed away, so he'll be firmly in our thoughts when the two sides meet on Saturday.
It was Rory McArdle up for press this week. Here he is with his thoughts as he hopes that a mix of experience and youth could see City over the line.
Keeping everything as normal as possible, as we've shown this season. When there is a high stakes game, we've generally come out on top and use them experiences that everybody's built up this season, and keep moving forward.
And I imagine amongst the squad, the belief is there, knowing that if we do win, we only need one of three teams, to fall. Like I said, the belief must be there that can happen.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. It's not a case of you just waiting on one result and hoping for the best. It's a case of it's three teams. As we've just spoke about, we've got to look after ourselves first, make sure we do our bit, and as you said, anything can happen. It only takes one of those three results just to fall our way, and it's not mission impossible. It's a realistic opportunity that's there for us, and it's one that everyone's looking forward to.
Something a little bit different now from club historian Will Barrett. He takes a look back at our historical final games of the season.
100 years to the day since we beat Bristol Rovers in our first ever final day showdown in the Football League. Let's take a look at our record of last league game results ahead of this weekend's crucial clash with Barrow. Not including last season's early curtailment or the 1939-40 season that was ended early due to the Second World War, we have played 92 final day matches in the third, fourth and fifth tiers of English football, sharing a total of 270 goals with our final day opponents. 47 of these games have been away from the park, and in the total, the final day record reads 132, drawn 16, lost 44, with a goal difference of -20. Now, that's not exactly what we want to hear right now, but thankfully we have a home fixture on the final day this season, and the totals for those matches read far better, with 26 wins, 7 draws and just 12 defeats, with 84 goals for the Grecians and just 54 against in those home matches. In all, our biggest final day win was the 8-1 victory over Aldershot in 1935, which is also level as the highest scoring final day match with the dramatic 5-4 win over Scunthorpe in 1976. But if we are looking for truly positive omens in the record books, we need look no further than our final home game of the 71-72 season, which was the last time we played Barrow at St James Park. On that occasion, a flurry of second half goals from Binney, Banks, Morin, Neal and Parker saw City win 7-1 as we regrettably sent our opponents out of the Football League. Now they're back this time around. Barrow are all safe and set for next season, and it is City who need the result. But a repeat of that game 50 years ago would be just the ticket this weekend as we attempt to crash back into the playoffs just in time.
We hear now from one of the nicest men in football that I know. Anyway, Mark Simpson, media manager at Barrow. We caught up with him to discuss our previous meeting, Saturday's game, and how Barrow's first season back in the Football League has gone.
Mark Simpson, media manager at Barrow, and one of the nicest men in football that I know. Live from, you at the stadium?
I am at the stadium, yes.
So you've not left yet, which surprises me. We know how far Barrow is.
Yeah, well, we're facing the Mammoth trip on Friday, so we'll be setting off first thing on Friday and staying over, thankfully, Friday night.
So it's been quite a season for Barrow, but you've stayed up in the Football League, and I imagine that was just the target at the start of the season, was it?
Yeah, I think so. I think there were a few people perhaps a bit optimistic saying that, we could go through again, but I think there's a couple of clubs who've done that previously. But I think realistically, to consolidate, to keep our status in the Football League this year was the main goal, especially as the season sort of unfolded and the things that have happened over the course of the season. And I think to do that is a pretty big achievement for the club.
And obviously, first time since the 70s that you're in the Football League as well.
Yeah, so the club got back into the Football League for the first time since 1972. So it's been quite cruel that the first season back has been the only season where fans haven't been allowed to come and enjoy it, So I think that the responsibility, Rob Kelly said, he felt that, and I think the players have felt that responsibility to make sure that the club did hold on to its League Two status so that fans, hopefully, touch wood, can come back next season in their numbers and really enjoy the first proper season back in the Football League, if you like, after all those decades.
So obviously you're making the journey down on Friday. I know how far it is, having done it 2.5 times this season.
All right.
Look, it's a strange one for us because I think it's the first game in about 7 where we're playing a side that have nothing to play for. But obviously you guys are going to want to end the season on a high, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been just before I spoke to you here. I've been over across the training ground, and the lads, there's a bubbly atmosphere there, but a real good focus as well. And Rob Kelly's not the type of manager who will let them have the weekend off. It certainly won't be like that. We're looking forward to being part of a good occasion down there. Personally, I'm looking forward to it. I always enjoy. I've been to Exeter a number of times, and I really, really always enjoy the welcome that the staff, not just yourselves, but everybody around the stadium always gives. But I anticipate the team coming looking to really sort of round off the season with a competitive display. There won't be any flip flops inside, that's for sure. Well, not on the pitch anyway.
And of course, we know that we need to win. So we were in the experience last weekend at Bolton where they needed to win, and we ruined their parties. So we know what it's like to be in that position when your opposition need all 3 points.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased about that when the results sort of fell like that there's something on the game, do you know what I mean? Because especially when you're driving all that distance, you want a little bit of something riding on it. So I'm quite pleased that there's that little bit of an incentive for Exeter to go and try and snatch that playoff space. So hopefully that'll add a little bit of extra edge to the game and add a layer of entertainment as well.
Obviously, we do need to talk about the game earlier in the season. I say earlier, I think it was only about 4 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, we came up in January. Do you know what? This season's been so... I don't know when it was. January, was it?
Lost track of it. I mean, you may as well have just moved to Cumbria for the first 3 months of the season, I think, and that would have probably been easier than what you had to do. No, I know that Exeter had a series of postponements, didn't they, around the turn of the year, and Barrow were obviously part of that list, and then you came up and... I mean, don't get us wrong, we had a nice night, didn't we, Craig? There was just no football that evening. But it is a long journey, so we didn't envy you having to do that more than once, and we'll be feeling that tomorrow when we hit the motorway.
So obviously, when we did finally get the game played, it was a strange one, wasn't it? Because I think it was one of those games where not a lot happened, but there was 3 goals, two of which came right at the end, and I think that was the result that sort of almost had you safe in the league, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really important result, to be honest, and I don't want to say that there was a feeling of complacency after that, but it certainly felt like a really big victory. And a victory that probably would cement Barrow's place in League Two at the time. But then, of course, we went and lost a series of games after that and sort of tried to give our fans something to get excited about again. Thankfully, we got that done and dusted in terms of our survival with a great win down not too far from you in Forest Green. We battled away. That performance against Exeter was probably typical of what we've done in the last sort of two and a bit months, not been a lot of flair at times, but there's a lot of grit and determination, and there's a good spirit among the lads. And I thought we sort of ground out the result that day. And as you said, it gave us a huge step towards where we wanted to be. And I know that it was hugely frustrating for yourself and all the Exeter fans that day.
Something you said about coming down to St James Park and we have a warm welcome and things like that. We ran out of biscuits in the press box last week, but I'm reliably informed I did see on the way out yesterday a new delivery of biscuits has come in. So hopefully I'll take some of those for the press, because I think, you know, you treated us well up there, so it's only fair that we treat.
Well, that just sounds. I mean, I don't know how you know that I'm the kind of lad who like biscuits, but there you go. No, to be honest with you, Craig, I think I've said it to you before, and I've said it to Scott, your colleague, in the past. Whenever I've visited Exeter, I've been overwhelmed by how friendly the club is, and that is not just on the media side, but from the minute you get off the bus or out your car at Exeter, there seems to be somebody around saying, "Hello, welcome to Exeter. Do you know where you're going? Have a great afternoon." You know, you sign in, and the people who sign you in are really friendly, and that's that kind of club that I'd like. You know, not that saying that Barrow are unfriendly in any way, we're not, but that's what I would like to be associated with. You know, the friend. You know, yeah, we're enemies on the pitch for 90 minutes, but let's make sure that everybody, you know, is welcome and feels, you know, like it's a friendly atmosphere in every ground.
In their first season back in the Football League, Barrow were tipped to go straight back down. But after a pretty good season and a few good recent results, they are safe. They played their last home game on Saturday as they took on Southend. Here is how they got on. As the song goes, he drinks the vodka and he drinks the Jaeger. But as you're about to find out, he doesn't like either of them, really. Ryan Bowman was answering fans' questions this week.
So, Ryan, as always, we have questions from the fan base ahead of this weekend's massive match against Barrow. But before we get to that, ECF Scoobs 21 has asked, what type of music do you listen to on the way to games?
Good question. You know, usually in the dressing room, it's Matt J that does the music. And to be honest, there's no specific genre really. It's just all sorts. There's old school, there's R&B, there's dance, hip hop, a bit of everything in there. So there's no specific genre that we listen to. It's just a mixture. But myself, if I had to pick, as I say, it's pretty much that. Probably I'd go bit of R&B music, maybe. That would probably be my favourite, but you know, I'm quite easy with music.
Excellent. I imagine it'll be a good mix in the dressing room ahead of the game on Saturday. Getting ready for it. Now,
Absolutely.
Now, Matt Palmer, he asks, what's your main tip for great match fitness?
Good question. I mean, luckily, touch wood, I've been quite, naturally fit all throughout my life, really, not just my career. I try and look after myself as much as I can at home. I go in the gym, when the fixtures aren't as harsh as they have been recently. I like to go in the gym, a couple of times a week. But then in the off season, our sports scientist gives us a program, and it's different kind of runs. There's fartlek runs, there's sprint runs. There's a mixture of all different kind of runs, really. And then I just do as much as I possibly can in the off season. But I think I'm quite lucky that I'm quite I'm quite fit all round naturally, so that helps as well. But I just like to keep myself topped up in the off season and go to the gym as much as I can, really.
Just keep at it, be dedicated, and it goes a long way.
Absolutely, dedication. Yeah, that's the key. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Alex Gagic, he's asked, I love this question, was the assist provided by Piers Sweeney for your winner against Grimsby Town the best assist that you've received whilst at Exeter City?
Great question. I mean, it's definitely got to be up there. I mean, he couldn't have done much more to put it on a plate for me. And it wasn't as if he was just like outside the box. He was like quite far out on the touchline as well. And for him to curl it around the defender in front of the goalie for my header, it was brilliant. I mean, you could say Archie's for the Colchester game. I mean, that was obviously completely different, but just the circumstances and trying to play the ball through, that was probably up there. But yeah, it's a good question. And off the top of my head, I can't think of much better than Sweens against Grimsby.
Yeah, we'll let Sweens have it. It was decent.
Yeah, we'll give Sweens it.
Very decent cross. Now, Franco's asked on the goal front, what's been your favourite goal so far as a City player?
Well, it has to be the Colchester goal. Again, the circumstances. 10 minutes to go till penalty shootout to get to Wembley, and on my left foot as well. I was never confident on my left foot. Never usually am, but it was probably that goal. And another special goal for my third against Tranmere, third against Colchester. I know I didn't know much about the one against Colchester, but to get that feeling, to get your first hat trick, and then to do it again against Tranmere, it was that them two are probably up there as well. But I'd probably go for the Colchester goal as another one special goal.
All special moments, all told, mate, all magic.
Yeah,
football.
Brilliant.
Things, good memories to have. Now, Tom Vickery, he says, how much have you missed the fans chanting your song? And he wants to know, can we come up with an agreement? When the fans are back and you score, can you just jump in the crowd with them on the Big Bang?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I don't think the referee should book you for that as well. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned it briefly earlier with yourself. It's football's nothing without the fans. That 2-week period we had in January to December time, where we had some fans back, it just gave all the players, myself included, a massive boost. And I just can't wait for the day until we get you guys back, to get the fans back, especially at St James's Park and singing that song. Yeah.
Get on, mate. And of course, I couldn't. I'd have to follow that one up. Chris Sumner asked, vodka or Jaeger or neither?
I'm not a big vodka drinker. It's more Disaronno if I was to have a drink, very rarely. But Jaeger, I'd take a Jaeger over vodka. A little Jaeger bomb every now and again is not too bad.
That's strong, as long as we haven't shattered the song with that one. And finally, Ridgway's asked, how much are you and the lads looking forward to Saturday's game? You're going to be up for the contest?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to give it our absolute all. We're going to leave nothing out on the pitch. No regrets. We've got a bit of momentum from the last two games going into the game on Saturday. All our prep's going to be on ourselves. And yeah, we're all looking forward to it. And hopefully one of the three teams above us slips up. Hopefully we do our job on Saturday and see where that takes us come 5 o'clock.
Follow in your heart, in spirit, in soul. You make every tackle, score every goal. You're part of it, wherever you are in the world. From the first minute until the last kick. Victories, heartbreaks, you're part of the fabric, the passion, devotion, supercharging emotion. For you, there is only one. Abiding loyalty, togetherness that is second to none. Follow every kick, every tackle, every goal. With access to live stream games and matchday commentary, with coverage spanning the globe. Behind the scene content, newsletters and match highlights. There is no better way for you to get closer to your club. And with iFollow sales supporting them, there's no better way to show your love. When you can't be there with iFollow.
That is all we've got time for on what is hopefully not the last park life of the season. But whatever happens on Saturday, thank you. It's been a season like no other, and we can't say enough how much we've missed having you in the park, even if we did see you for those 3 games in 2020. It's been difficult, but your support, as always, has been superb, backing the boys from home, from wherever you have been. And thank you so much for watching Park Life as well. You know the drill for this final game of the season. £10 on iFollow. Make sure you pick up your match pass. Shout at the TV louder than you've ever shouted before and back the boys. And hopefully, come 5 o'clock, we'll be in those playoff places. Come on, City!